Hey guys, I'm back with another video about IEM Katowice. This time it's giving you 5 reasons to watch IEM Katowice, why you should actually be really hyped for this tournament, and what are some of the things that you have to look forward to. So let's start things off with the biggest. Number 1, it's going to be the fact that there are new maps and a new patch to figure out. The patch in particular has had some heated conversation about it, to say the least, and some of the maps as well have also had a lot of discussion around it. We will not really know what the patch entails for us until we get to Katowice. While the players have known about the new patch and the new maps for about a month at this point, the patch has had some slight reworks during that time, and just generally none of them have really been able to play in really big, prestigious, preparation tournaments. So this will be the first time we're seeing that. Same with the maps. They've known about it for a while, even longer than, even I did, right? They're kind of secretly practicing on them. So the timing of the patch is certainly in question. It only officially got released a couple of weeks ago, so ladder practice hasn't been particularly helpful for the guys. A lot of them were playing tons and tons of customs. So this also could be a tournament where it is decided by how long in advance the players were preparing for this. Some were still laddering most of the time, others are doing a whole heck of a lot of customs. But whatever happens, we're going to see who comes out a little bit ahead when it comes to the patch. I know a lot of opinions say that ZERG's coming out ahead, talking to the pros. It actually doesn't sound like it's too bad. Most of the pros don't seem to really have super strong opinions. That's also because they're nice, level-headed people and they're just trying to play the game to the best of their ability. So the tournament, Katowice, might be the first time we get to see something. It could be huge, it could be super small, whatever it is, it's going to be fresh. So that's what's really exciting. New maps for new metas and players coming into a really big, the first big tournament for a new patch, with perhaps new metas to show, or at the very least a couple of snipe builds that are really entertaining. The second reason to watch is because the trend for Katowice the last 2 years has been amazing gameplay-wise. So you don't know what's going to happen with the patch and the maps, but the last 2 years, 21 and 22 for Katowice, have given us some of the best games of their years and possibly of the decade or even entirety of StarCraft 2's lifespan. It might sound like I'm being dramatic, but if you remember some of those sick base trades of the last year, you'll know what I'm talking about. The finals have delivered, many of the semifinals have delivered, quarterfinals have been super fun, upsets have happened in groups. We don't quite know what to expect at any time. It's just been super, super exciting. So again, if they just get close to that level of quality that they were last year, 1, we're gonna have some super long days, but we'll take it. And 2, it's going to be hella entertaining. So I really hope this continues. In the past, Katowice has had some really sick games and then really fell off hard for semifinals and finals. It was becoming kind of a thing. It was kind of a joke. And then it's bounced back. It's bounced back since it's been the global championships. 21, 22 is the only time it's been global championships, and now we're heading into 23, so I hope it continues. Thank you, Global Championships God, for giving us fantastic games for Katowice. The third reason to watch is that we have a bit of a storyline going on. It's the same storyline in a new way. Korea versus non-Korea. Oh, what's it now, ZombieGrub? But Korean's gonna win again. The thing is that last year, it was probably the most upsetting for Korean fans that it's ever been, with 3 non-Koreans, that's why it's number 3, I did that on purpose, actually making it to the semifinals. So only 1 Korean player was in the semifinals. That was an absolute first. Up until then, there had been a total of like 1, if that, in the round of 4. And then that also led into a non-Korean being crowned world champion, which had happened before, actually, but still the amount of non-Koreans getting to that top 4, that's what's starting a little, it's maybe getting on their nerves a little bit. And the Koreans have really struck back since then too, which is the entertaining thing about 2022-23 season, is that Katowice happened. Yes, the Koreans still did very well overall, but this top 3 non-Koreans getting in there. And then for Valencia and Atlanta, the 2 kind of big, kind of more mainstay official part of the tournaments and very prestigious tournaments, were almost actually dominated by Koreans. So the round of 8 was almost all Koreans. It was for Valencia, and for Atlanta there was, I think, only Cyril that made it kind of farther than that, right? Which, that's an old story, but the point is the Koreans really, if there's any question mark about where they were at dominating wise, it's still a little bit in question, but maybe they've decided to come back. Maybe they've decided to go ahead and just stomp all of the non-Koreans in Katowice 23 to prove that they are absolutely still dominant, and they're going to take that world championship back away from the likes of Cyril or Rainer, who are our last two world champions, and perhaps now Dark can say he's done it in the new EPT circuits, because he did it for BlizzCon 2019, and he's probably eyeing that top prize this time around. Number 4, breaking the ZERG dominance. Question mark? We don't actually know what's going to happen, who's going to win, but there's really no denying that ZERGs have dominated global championships. And I'm including all of the BlizzCons being global championships as well. So to help me make this point, I'm going to bring out some real nerdy shit and talk about all of the studying and preparing that I've been doing here, thanks to Notion, which is an awesome program. We went through all of the global finals, so everything that was considered the global finals, plus the invitationals, which weren't really global finals, but we'll count them. It's all BlizzCon, and go over who has won with what race. So you can see here, 2019 was the last BlizzCon that was global final. Dark won, before that was Cyril, before that was Rogue, so 3 times in a row for there. Overall, in Legacy of the Void, ZERG has won 13. Sorry, not won 13, has been represented the most in the round of 8 at 13, then Terran, and then Protoss. This is for the global finals. So ZERG dominated, and the last 3 of the BlizzCons were won by ZERGs. Let's look at Katowice. Similar situation. The last, not just 3 Katowices have been won by ZERGs. Count them up. Cyril, Rainer, Rogue, Sue, Rogue. The last 5 Katowices have been won by ZERG. In the same line, the last 5 global championships have been won. Actually, even more than that, so... They've been pretty ZERG dominated. When it comes to representing the round of 8s, we again have ZERG domination. 25 ZERGs, 16 Terrans, 14 Protoss for the entirety of Legacy of the Void. So ZERG does pretty well on these weekend tournaments, and a lot of discussion has happened around that. Why are ZERGs doing particularly well at these tournaments? You guys can continue discussing that all you like. The point is, the trend points to ZERGs being favored at IEM Katowice, both for being Katowice, as well as being Global Championship, and in general, what we've had going for a lot of the tournaments even this year. If you're not talking about Global Championships and just kind of regular tournaments, they've also been a lot of ZERG victors. So, maybe expect it. As far as the matchups, they've also been ZVP for 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row Katowices, with last year being just a regular old ZVZ. So you can still see that even the matchups are getting kind of expected. Maybe we'll get another Protoss in the finals again, but that's going to be tough. Maybe we'll finally have a TVZ that happens at Katowice that isn't in a non-international tournament, or maybe it'll surprise us and be a PvP. No TVTs, by the way, but that's not the point of this. The point of this number 4 reason to watch is potentially to watch ZERG fall. They've been doing too well for these past couple of years, and it's time for Terran or Protoss to rise up. Maybe. The number 5 reason to watch might sound a little boring, but I think if you're one of the people this hits, it's going to be really freaking exciting. Better viewing hours for Championship Sunday. Boom. That's amazing, all right? We are no longer tied to the arena in which we had to squeeze everything in because CSGO is so much cooler than us. We get our own little spot in the Expo Center where we can do whatever the hell we want, including having a 9-hour final day. So if you recall the previous Katowices, you might recall setting your clock for 3 in the morning. If you're living on the west coast of North America, for instance, and being really upset at that. Now, you don't have to worry. All right, now we have the championships being the round of 8s, Championship Sunday being round of 8, round of 4, and of course the finals, which will take about probably 9 hours, more or less, I don't know. And we'll go from about noon European CET to like 9:30 that time, right? So that's going to be more around noon to 3 p.m. for the North Americans out there. So that's excellent. That's just really exciting. It also means that you don't have to worry about missing the Super Bowl, because apparently that's something people were worried about. You can actually even host 2 parties, perhaps, if you're a really cool kid and have enough friends interested in both, which would be pretty awesome. Or you can just plan your day around a little bit better, so you don't have to be all groggy and decide, yeah, I know what, I don't need to watch this. You can watch it, and it's gonna be super easy. And it's gonna be a long build-up as well, so I think it's excellent. I put that as number 5, even though there's a lot of other storylines that are coming into the tournament. I'm writing them all down. I'm bringing them into the tournament on the desk, on the casts. I'm hoping to have you guys super excited, but I really thought for a lot of people out there, the better viewing hours would actually be a big reason to tune in. So to summarize, we had 1, new maps and patch, new metas, new all that type of stuff. Gonna be fun. Number 2, Katowices have been having the most amazing games the last 2 years, so I hope that continues. Number 3, we might have the revenge of the Koreans after their lackluster round of 4 performance in last year's Katowice. They have been knocking out of the park in terms of the other DreamHacks this year and are probably looking to take back the championship trophy for Katowice 2023. For number 4, we want a ZERG to not win. They've been winning a lot, and it's time for someone else to shine, maybe. And number 5, especially for everyone on the West Coast, but just generally not in Europe, better viewing hours, guys. You're actually going to be able to watch not just the finals, but perhaps the semis and maybe even some of the quarters at a regular hour. How amazing is that? And just for fun, and because I have them, and I'm going to have more as I continue studying some of the other storylines that I didn't actually highlight here, we have that ZERG nomination, sure, but then also does Clem have a better offline performance? His previous offlines haven't gone so well, especially when it comes to Katowice, and everyone does love watching Clem do well. Will Rainer get his revenge on Cyril and continue also performing so well that he makes it to the finals again of a global championship? The only one to do it back to back to back, 2019, 2021, and 22. We have Dark's last tournament probably before military, so this will be his last chance to actually get that crown, of which he has been denied in the past, even though he's always been a championship contender and probably kind of, I don't know, deserved one, but it's going to be his last try perhaps. Does Neeb actually practice leading up to this? Big fans of the North American Protoss Neeb. He's actually been a student for a couple of months at this point, and he might not actually be performing. But with that in mind, we might have a new North American, specifically USA citizen, American type, Estrella. Estrella might actually fill that void that Neeb might create, and in a very fun Protoss fashion as well. We have continuing rivalries that might pop out, depending on how the group settle and how the bracket settles for the round of 12. Hero versus Maru has been a big one for a lot of tournaments and might continue here for Katowice. We have Solar versus Dark, actually. Dark being the most consistent Katowice player, I believe. On my studying, I think that's come to be true. And then Solar being the second most consistent. And the reason he isn't first is because Dark keeps killing him at these tournaments. That is why he's not the most consistent. So you have all different types of stuff, man. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. I think we're going to have a lot to talk about with all the things that I've already listed and more things that I'm going to find and just how the games actually go. I mean, after the first day, we could have a totally new concept of what StarCraft 2 looks like with the new patch and the new maps. That's a bit dramatic, probably, but still the point is I'm really excited. You guys should be too. Hopefully you come up with a lot more ways than just 5 to watch Katowice, and hopefully whatever you come up with delivers. It's very exciting. I'm really excited to go. I'm leaving in a couple of days. I hope you guys are excited too. See you on Twitch or YouTube for Katowice, and see you for more videos on this YouTube just in a couple of days, or basically tomorrow. All right, guys. Bye.